Hey guys, you guys are early, or right on time actually. So is Samantha here yet? Hopefully she pops in soon and lets us know how everything's going. I just watched a news broadcast on the Michigan case, and it was pretty interesting that the prosecutor was asked whether or not any school officials would be charged, and she said it was possible. I thought that was interesting. And okay, this is what I'm thinking took place. Different news broadcasts are kind of presenting it in a different light, right? But the one I just watched, it sounds like he was in class. The kid was in class. Hey, Mrs. Fluffer. The kid was in class drawing, and he drew a picture of a gun, I think, and some ammunition. And he drew a person who was shot, and then he had a laughing emoji. The teacher saw it. It was very disturbing to her or him. I don't know if it was a her or a him. The teacher. The teacher took a photo of the drawing. The school, at that point, I believe they removed him from the classroom. The school contacted the parents and had them come in for an emergency meeting. The school told the parents they had 48 hours to get help for their son, or they would turn them in to protective services, to child protective services. The parents flatly refused, according to the news broadcast, to take their son. Really? Is that where the problem happened right then and there? The parents flatly refused to take their son? Really? How does that work exactly? Mr. and Mrs. parents of this kid, we're concerned that your son needs help. We removed him from the classroom. He will not be allowed to attend school until we have reassurance from a mental health professional that he does not pose a risk to the other students. And then the parents flatly refused to take their kid? So they were told they had 48 hours to get the kid help, or they'd be turning them into protective services. Really? And then they saw the parents flat out refusing to take the kid home. Now remember, the school had already decided to remove the child from the classroom. The school had already deemed a danger was at hand. They already deemed the student potentially dangerous. That decision was already made when they removed the kid from the classroom, contacted the parents, and called an emergency meeting with the parents. And then the parents, according to the news broadcast, the parents flatly refused, quote, flatly refused to take their kid home. So why on earth did they put the kid back in the classroom? Well, according to the news report, they put the kid back in the classroom because the counselor decided the kid didn't pose a risk to anyone. Really? He's drawing pictures of guns and bullets and dead people. And he included a smiling emoji. Evidently, the kid was a fast talker. He convinced the school people that he was just designing a video game. Really? So he was put back in the classroom. I mentioned this in our last live chat. Take a look at Adam Lanza's picture. And you tell me whether or not it's kind of obvious the kid had some issues. Take a look at the one out of Florida. You tell me. Isn't kind of obvious? He had some issues. Take a look at the behavior patterns of the kids at Columbine. We're supposed to act surprised, I guess, right? We're supposed to be shocked. We're supposed to think, oh my goodness, what on earth is going on? When I think what we really need to do is pay closer attention to what's really going on at school. Two parents. I guess that kind of throws all the statistics out the window about single parent households, huh? Two parents, and they both flatly refused to take the kid home? Really? If the school put the parents on notice that if they didn't get the kid help within 48 hours, they were going to turn them in, then why didn't they turn them in? At the moment that the parents refused to take the kid out of school. It was either an alarming situation or it wasn't. It was either a cause for concern or it wasn't. He was either posing a risk or the threat of risk or the suspicion of a threat by his drawings, or he wasn't. If we're going to be super critical of whatever a kid draws, then what do we do with the information? Oh, you're designing games. Wow. Really? Well, let's see. They were concerned, and rightly so, obviously. Of course, hindsight's 2020. The school was concerned. Good job at that point. They contacted the parents. Good job at that point. They called an emergency meeting. Good job at that point. The parents both showed up. Good job. And then the meeting was held to make it clear to the parents that the kid needed help and he was expected to be helped within 48 hours or the school was going to take action. And the parents basically, according to the news broadcast, didn't take the situation seriously at all. And they left the school without taking their kid with them. At that point, why weren't the phone calls made to get the kid the help that the school suspected he needed? What, was the kid super brilliant or something that he's designing these games? Was that a believable story? Had he ever designed a game before? Had he ever sold any of his designs? How often was he truant? Did he use drugs? Was he arrested before? Not that we're supposed to be able to know any of that because he's a juvenile. Or juvenile. Or a juvenile. Mrs. Fluffer says, I think it was they didn't want to pay for his help, but wouldn't they have had insurance? I don't understand how the school can tell the parents to take the kid and the parents can say no. How does that work? If the school is saying take your kid, I think that means take your kid. So when the parents said no, what did the school say? What was their reaction? Oh, okay. Or, you know what? You don't take your kid, guess what? We're calling the police. Or, wait a minute, wasn't there a police officer right on site? The school liaison officer? So, the school is concerned and sounds like the meeting didn't go well with the parents, and the school's telling the parents to take the kid, and the parents flat out refuse, according to the mainstream media. Well, what are you going to do? Well, tell the police officer to write up a report on parents being negligent, call CPS, let the parents know if they're not going to parent their kid, then maybe hopefully they can find a foster home where he can live. If you don't want to take care of your kid, right? At what point did returning that kid to the classroom ever become an option? Doesn't it seem kind of obvious that if the parents come to the meeting and don't seem to be taking it very seriously, and they refuse to take their kid with them when the school tells them that the kid was taken out of the classroom, doesn't it seem obvious that right then and there that was the time for action? I mean, come on. If the kid would have been drawing daffodils or something, maybe not. It certainly makes sense that it was time to search his backpack. I would say before the meeting, it was time to search his backpack. and his person. Just imagine while he's sitting there acting cool as a cucumber, knowing what he has right on him or in his backpack. What does that say about the condition he was in at the time? What does that say about everybody who was at the meeting? How well did they know this kid? Was he acting normal? What was normal for him? So is the go-to default blame it fast that the parents were wrong to buy a gun for a Christmas present? What? I wonder how many millions of guns have been purchased as Christmas presents for a family member, including a kid, without any incident. Can we blame our colleges and universities for maybe not training mental health professionals well enough? Can we blame all the cutbacks in spending on mental health services that happened? I think it was back during the Clinton administration in the 90s. Can we blame parents for not parenting their kids properly? If in fact that's what was going on? Nope, let's blame the gun. Let's blame the access to the firearm. That's it. How much time, I wonder, do parents typically spend with their children every day? How many families actually sit down at dinner time and have dinner together? How many teenagers actually have a part-time job? Did you know that Kyle Rittenhouse worked part-time during high school to help support his family? Did you know that? I'm not sure, but I have a hunch that a lot of kids who get in trouble, and I'm not including Kyle in that lump, never worked a day in their lives. Don't even know what work is. Mrs. Fluffer says, we do. Good for you, Mrs. Fluffer. Sadly, I think there are a lot of kids who are not sitting down to dinner as a family in the evening. Exactly, not even around the house. How many kids are sitting on the internet constantly playing these games where you run over prostitutes? That's just not healthy, guys. Because those kids are going to grow up and get a driver's license one day. How many kids sit on their duffs and watch their parents do everything? Here you go, Mrs. Fluffer. Good on her and good on you and your husband. She has watched her parents work hard to provide for the family, and she learned how to do it. She learned what a good work ethic means, what it looks like, what it feels like. And she can have a sense of self-esteem, self-confidence, even pride. I know we're taught that pride is, not right to have. But when teenagers on this planet are being bombarded with so much negative crap, it's so important for them to have things in their life that they're able to achieve, to have goals, to have parents who actually teach them how to set goals. If they have parents who don't know how to set goals, how are they going to learn how to set goals? Well, I guess that's where the schools kind of can step in, right? With good, counselors at the high school level for sure, but even at the junior high level. Because kids, a lot of them are not 18 before they figure out what they want to be when they grow up. Parents should not be saying to their kids, I need you to help me out. I need you to do this. I need you to do that. Hey, wait a minute. It's garbage day. Hey, wait. I need you to get that. You need to, no. Stop negotiating. Stop begging. Stop using your time to try to negotiate with one of your teenagers why and when and how he or she should be taking the garbage to the curb. Save your breath, save your energy. Do a little chores list and put it on the fridge. If you're not giving your kids chores, then your kids are missing out on an opportunity to learn valuable lessons that will help them when they're adults. I guess, it's up to you if you're a parent. If you want to have a kid in his 30s living in your house, eating your food, asking you for money, complaining to you when his car or truck breaks down, if that's what you want, if you want to stifle your children's proper, healthy development, well, then shame on you. Loving your kids means teaching them. Discipline means to teach. Teach them how to do laundry. Don't do it all yourself and then bitch about it. Teach them how to do their own laundry. Teach them how to cook. Even if it's not fancy schmancy stuff, take turns. Or ask for their help in the kitchen. Expect their help in the kitchen. Don't be emptying that dishwasher every day and saying, why am I the only one emptying the dishwasher every day? If you're the only one emptying the dishwasher every day, it's on you. You can do a chores list, post it on the fridge, and teach your kids how to be a part of the machine of how your family runs. Right? I mean, the food doesn't suddenly disappear on the table. You're doing your kids a favor if they become part of the procurement process. You can't sit on your butt and do it. You got to be working. Your kids have to watch you working, whether in the house or with your career. Teach by example and expect them to join in. Expect it. You're not their entertainment committee. You're not their friend. You're not their buddy. You're not their maid. You're not their cook. You're their teacher. You, the parent, you are the teacher. Without even saying a word, you are teaching your child. If your kids are sitting on their duffs, connected to their technology, then it's your job to get them off their duffs. Especially when they're teenagers. It's your job to ensure that they have opportunities to be busy with. One of my kids during high school signed up the entire family to volunteer at the community meals program. He was evidently required to do so many hours of volunteer work or whatever. And instead of signing himself up, he signed all of us up. And let me tell you, that's one of our best memories of those years. Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter. When we would devote some of our time as a family to helping to feed the less fortunate. One year, they assigned us to be table hosts at this big community thing. And I watched my children hosting their own tables. And let me tell you, I was mama proud. And that volunteer energy is alive and well today. I'm not trying to fix blame fast, but I'm kind of thinking that the Michigan kid probably was not in band. I'm just guessing. I don't know. But I'm thinking that, well, it's my hunch, that he probably wasn't in the honors program. I'm just guessing that he wasn't one of those nerds at the end of the year who gets that perfect attendance certificate. I'm thinking that with any of the cases we've seen in the news, when these types of tragedies occur, that the kids had too much time on their hands. I'm thinking that they overall, and I'm talking in very general terms, had parents who treated them as equals Here's a news flash for all of you parents out there. Your kids don't want to be equals. They want to have parents. They want parents who will say no. They want parents who will set curfews and who will follow through with consequences if the curfew is broken. They want parents who don't take shit from their own kids. Go to any restaurant on any day in any city in the United States, and you don't have to look far or for very long before you see that family. You know the one, the family that you really wish you hadn't accidentally sat near their table. What do you want to order, honey? What do you feel like today? Oh, you want chicken nuggets? Oh, you don't want chicken nuggets? Well, you like chicken nuggets. Are you sure you don't want chicken nuggets? Well, I don't really think that you would like that. Are you sure you would like that? I'm not sure. Well, he wants chicken nuggets, but I don't know. He has chicken nuggets every day. Oh, for Pete's sake. Number one, he shouldn't be eating chicken nuggets every day. Number two, for Pete's sake, if he's old enough to take to a restaurant and to be sitting up at the table, although my hunch is they go through the drive-thru more often but anyway, mark my words, go to any restaurant today and you will find this family. Everything is a negotiation. Where do you want to sit? Oh, we'll sit over here. Well, do you want to sit over there? Well, I'll sit over here. Well, do you want to sit? Well, here. Blah, 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 blah. Really? Oh, you want a Coke? You want a Pepsi? Oh, you want a refill? You want another refill? Careful, that's your fourth one. Oh, you want an appetizer? You want dessert? Stop kicking your sister. The same parents who are saying, oh, you want chicken nuggets again? Are also saying, by the end of their meal, stop it. Stop fighting. Okay, that's it. Do we have to leave? Can you behave? That's it. If you don't behave, then we'll leave. That's it. Except it never really is it, because the parents would rather sit there and threaten to leave the restaurant 20 more times. I've seen parents negotiating with 2-year-old children, 3-year-old children, 7, 10, whatever age. It doesn't matter. They negotiate with their kids. That isn't what kids want. Kids do not want to be negotiating with their parents. They want parents who will say no. They want strong parents. They want parents who are there. And you know what else? There's an old joke that my friends and I used to say. It's our job to embarrass our children. That's our job. Just doing my job. You know what I mean? Where you're the one applauding and yelling the loudest at the basketball game. That's our job. I mean, if you're not a loud one at the basketball game. It isn't that you're a bad parent necessarily, but if you are the loud one at the basketball game, good on you. You're doing your job. Kids actually like it when the parents are screaming out support and encouragement for them during the game. They actually like it. They might not say so. They might not act like it, but they do. And if you're the mom that likes to bring the junk food to the games, kids like that too. If you're the mom that tells the kids' friends that they should take a look at their shoes or that they need knee pads or whatever, kids like that too. Kids love having parents who are badinsky. Badinsky parents are what kids want and evidently what they need. Butt in. Do your job. The problem with that is when you are a badinsky, then you will have to spend a lot of extra money at the grocery store. Because when you're the badinsky parent, it's your house where the kids are going to be hanging out. Your house will be a mess when you get home from work. The food will disappear as fast as you buy it. Sometimes when you walk in the door, there are going to be teenagers there who you don't even recognize. But when you're a badinsky parent who dares to say no, you'll notice that your kids' friends want to have a little bit of that too. They act like they don't want your advice, but funny thing, they were always asking for it. Be a badinsky. And if the school calls you and your son's drawing some kind of weird stuff, and you both go for an emergency meeting, and the school says he needs help, get him some help. Not in a day or two. Get him some help. Here's the other thing that I've seen with parents in this next generation. It's almost like they have to act like they're perfect. You know what I mean? They have to have the huge houses, the huge cars, the huge and busy schedules, right? The whole keep up with the Joneses routine. That isn't what kids need. Don't spend so much time chasing after the almighty dollar or the image that you're not having dinner with your kids. And don't grovel or negotiate or plead with your kid to quote unquote help you around the house. Raise kids who want to take part in running the show. And I don't mean running the show, you know what I mean? Keeping the show running. Make lists, post chores lists, post grocery lists. You know, if your kids have a driver's license and a vehicle that they get to drive around with, let them do some grocery shopping. That's good for them. Let them be a part of that chore, right? I'm searching for my phone here. I think it's ringing. Or actually, it must be a text because it's kind of going in my purse. Oh, I bet it was ringing. Oh, and then the battery went. Oh, well. We're good. I can call him back later. Well, here, let me put you on mute. I'm going to try to grab the cell phone and do it. Hold on. I'll be right back. I'm still looking for my other phone. I'll be right back. I promise. Okay, good. Here I am. Mrs. Fluffer is making a really good point. Social media is ruining kids. All I had to compare myself to was a girl in 17 magazine. That's a really good point, Mrs. Fluffer. I don't remember off the top of my head what the ages were, but research has shown that females have excellent self esteem when they're 8, 9, 10 years old. But somewhere, I can't remember the exact age, according to the research studies, somewhere after that point, suddenly their self esteem plummets. So, why is that? Again, look at the social media, look at the mainstream media, look at all of the fake presentations by so many people. The models, the skinny minis, the singers who aren't really that great of singers at all, but they have the right connections, right? Look at even Harry's wife wearing the clothes that she wears and then talking about, giving a crap about people who are living in poverty. I mean, the mixed messages are running wild with what teenagers are seeing and hearing and watching, right? What's happening to their self esteem? Oh, Tennyson, that's perfect. Tennyson says, my 13-year-old says to me a while back when she was 12, Mom, you don't know how to do the laundry. I'm going to do it. She's done it for the entire family ever since. Good job, Tennyson. That's the way to do it. And there's something that my dad used to say when he would watch as the kids would help me paint or help me mud the walls or help me choose the cabinets for the new kitchen or help me doing anything and everything around the house, my dad would say to me, "You're building character in those kids. You're building character in those kids." And I used to think, whatever. It didn't connect. I just thought, okay, that's dorky. You're building character in those kids. He was right. Kids are very good at painting. They're very good at mudding walls. You might want to do the corners yourself because the corners get a little bit dicey. Kids are great with planning the kitchen, with designing the kitchen. They're great. They think of everything. Expect them to be a part of it. That's what they need. Here comes Samantha. Hey, Samantha. Okay, give us the road report if you feel comfortable doing so. Mrs. Fluffer says, my little girl started making her school lunch for her and for her sister at age 6, and she'll be 10 in February. That is a perfect example. And it's a huge help when you guys are running out the door in a hurry in the morning. Why on earth can't they make their own lunches? That's a perfect example of how children can be, I won't even say allowed, encouraged. But back to the whole thing about being perfect, okay? If you are a perfectionist, and I don't mean you, Mrs. Fluffer, I mean parents in general. If you are a perfectionist, you have to let go of it in order to include your children in the chores. If that sandwich looks a little bit lopsided or, it's the most beautiful sandwich ever. If something at dinner, maybe, I don't know, maybe the side dish found a new side, Oh, man. I mean, don't lie to them, but it's obviously tasting really good, right? Encourage them to want to be a part of it. Samantha says, sleep's all to pot in here. You definitely need your sleep, honey. Do you have earbuds maybe? Or maybe communicate to your nurse that you need to be able to have it quieter. Maybe you'd be able to, I don't know, because you definitely need some good sleep. We're talking about parenting and the Michigan case, and I pointed out at some point a while back that Kyle Rittenhouse actually had a part-time job in order to help support his family. That is absolutely admirable. Cobra says, when my 4 sons would mouth off, they had to clean the bathroom. My 38-year-old son has a sparkling bathroom today. Job well done. Oh, Samantha can't sleep with earplugs in. You want me to do a video of, I could read Bible verses or something. That'd put you to sleep, right? And I'm not trying to trash the Bible at all, but I could read some kind of boring story. Because people say they either fall asleep to my videos or they clean house to my videos. So maybe that would help you sleep. Either that or you'll start cleaning the hospital. You know what else we need, I think? Back in the day, women had women. Oh, good. So it would work, Samantha. You could just maybe pull up some of the old mini marathons or whatever until I get a few. I'll do a few videos reading some boring story. Maybe that Jane Eyre story. That'd be a good one to read. I think what else we need, though, that's lacking today for younger women that existed back, I think, in my grandmother's generation and in my mother's generation before the women's lib thing. Women had women in their lives. They had a lot of women in their lives. They spent time with other women, and they weren't necessarily catty or mean either, like we see so much of today. They were supportive of each other. They taught each other. They encouraged each other. They shared their resources. They shared their time. They shared their feelings. I think that matters more than we know. I was doing a lot of complaining about the whole last year and a half routine about how the retailers, in my opinion, are totally taking advantage of the situation in our last live chat. But I think, even though we can list off a bunch of negative crap, I think some good things came from the last year and a half, 2 years also. And that is, I think it actually physically forced people to spend more time with their own children. I think it forced people to actually prepare more meals than they normally were preparing. It's different now, right? It's different now. It's like there actually is a new normal, even though we all kind of rejected that term at first. But if we can encourage younger moms to have a new normal, which includes spending more time with their kids, that includes families spending more time together, that includes more home cooked meals and even regular meal times, then the new normal is a good thing. Be a badinsky. Butt in. If your children have a teacher who shouldn't be teaching, then butt in, request a meeting with the teacher and say, what the heck is going on? If problems persist, then butt in, request a meeting with the administrators, with the vice principal or the principal or whoever. Butt in, expect the best. Be a badinsky. Your kids need you to be, and so do their friends. I'm not advocating breaking into your daughter's diary or breaking into their email or whatever, but you know what? I am. Because you might see something that is very disturbing. Do they own their email or do you? I don't know. Is their name on the mortgage? Is their name on the deed? I mean, healthy boundaries are important and all, but so is parenting. Many, many years ago, I intercepted an email that wasn't meant for my eyes, but I was the parent of whose eyes it was meant for. A young woman, a teenager, emailed a whole bunch of people. And it was a very disturbing email. And I saw it without really having, I wouldn't say permission because I was the parent, so I don't need permission to see that email, to have seen that email. But I saw it on one of my recon exercises. I'm joking. And when I saw it, it was very disturbing, like I said. And I contacted one of the guys I used to work with, one of the sergeants. By that time, I was a real estate broker already. But I contacted one of the guys I used to work with, and I said, ooh, look at this email. This is disturbing. What do you think? Should I contact her parents? What should I do? Well, there was a part of that email that went over the line. And he was compelled to get involved. And within a very short time, as in within an hour or two, the Secret Service was at the high school. And at the end of the day, I had an office in the city. I also had an office right in the house at home. And at the end of that day, when the high schoolers were coming in the door, making the beeline to the fridge, right? They were all telling me, hey, Mrs. H, guess what? Hey, Mrs. A, hey, Mom, guess what? Hey, guess what? Guess what happened today at school? And I stood there, already knowing what was going on. And I stood there, I'm not a good poker player, right? Like, I will not play poker with you because you will win. I stood there listening to them telling me about the Secret Service being at their high school that afternoon. And they could probably tell by the look on my face that I already knew what they were telling me. And all of a sudden, they all kind of got the idea right after one of the kids said, gee, I wonder who, reported it. Because remember, a lot of kids got that email. And one of the kids said, I wonder who reported it. And at that very second, they all looked at me. They figured it out. And it isn't like I said, ooh, I'm going to report this, right? I didn't know really what to do. So I reached out and asked for some advice. Be that mom. Be that parent. That if the Secret Service shows up at the school, or if the police show up at the school, or if there's any type of an investigation going on, that the high schoolers wonder if you may have been the one to report something. Be that parent. And in that case, the girl who sent the email was actually helped. Her parents did get her the help she needed. And it was all good. Be that badinsky parent. Not only for your own kids, but for their friends too. And even for the kids who send random emails out to a bunch of kids. Be the badinsky. Pay attention, care. That's my lecture for today. What do you think? Jeanette says boys are easier. There's a good comedian. I think her name is Leanne something. She's funny about raising daughters. She can really make you laugh. Leanne something. She's a Southerner. Let's segue into the case of Christopher Watts. Wouldn't it have been good, I would think, it could be said, that it would have been good had Christopher Watts' wife had quote unquote friends who were Badinskys. Wouldn't it have been really good, really healthy for Bella and Cece if Christopher Watts' wife would have had quote unquote friends who took her aside and said, what the hell is going on? Why is Bella trying to use her toys as if they're a rectal thermometer? What if she would have had, Badinsky types in her life who said, what do you mean you're giving them Benadryl and Tylenol at bedtime? What if she would have had Badinskys in life who said, you're taking them to the emergency room again? What if she would have had a Badinsky type, quote unquote, friend who said, really? You're saying that she had a severe allergic reaction and yet you took the time to give her a bath and to drive her to the hospital? Because that doesn't make sense. So what's really going on? What if she had a Badinsky friend who said, I think you need help because I don't believe that you have any of the health challenges you're claiming that you have. Being a Badinsky is a good thing. Because when people need help, they need a Badinsky. And even if they don't need help, which I think she needed help, people need to have that sense of community, that sense of connectedness. People need people. Look at social media. People can post the most terrible, just terrible, threatening, vile garbage And they do it over and over again, and then they begin to think it's normal. They pretend that they're normal. And then other vile, icky people come alongside them and go, hee hee hee, that's really funny. And then they get to pretend like they're normal too. It's what I call the slippery slope. Christopher Watt's wife had quote unquote friends on social media. And with her videos, it appears that that was her community, right? Connecting with her friends. Do you remember the picture that she posted of Christopher Watts holding 2 drinks? She was pregnant at the time, so she pretended they were both his drinks, I think, is what her little game was. The photo was taken in another woman's kitchen. And people commented as if the kitchen was Christopher Watts and his wife's kitchen. And she didn't correct them. In fact, she liked their comment. It was okay with her, evidently, for her friends to think that that was her kitchen when it wasn't. Fake, fake, fake. Image, right? Just imagine how things would have turned out differently had any of those online friends been actually close enough to her to know that that wasn't even her kitchen. You know, she had a couple of posts with one person acting like they were all buddy-buddy, and then she asked her what she was going to school for. If she's a friend of yours, you know what she's going to school for. One time there was a post with one of her own cousins, and I think that one, I think she was asking, where do you live? Did she have anybody in her day-to-day life who would dare to take her aside and say, I think you're medically abusing Bella and Cece. You need help? Did she have anybody in her day-to-day life who would dare say to her, I don't believe you had neck surgery. I don't believe you have lupus. I don't believe you have high-risk pregnancies. I don't believe you're making any money. I don't believe you're healthy, but I don't think your health problems are physical, if you know what I'm saying. But like Cindy Watts has said many times, it seemed like everybody just walked on eggshells around her daughter-in-law, not wanting to set her off, not wanting, evidently, the repercussion of speaking up to her or speaking out. So, okay, people are afraid of her, afraid of setting her off. But what about Bella and Cece? Didn't they see it was their responsibility too to make sure that Bella and Cece were safe? Were they so afraid of being a badinsky that they chose to look the other way, even though there were 2 small children who were being dragged from one emergency room to another, who were being drugged at 6:30 every night? Were they too afraid of being a badinsky that they chose to look the other way when 2 little girls suddenly needed surgery in March of 2018? Don't be afraid to be a badinsky. Because children in our society need all of us to be badinskys. Just like the true crime community needs us, those of us here discussing this case, to continue to discuss this case, because there are so many things about the case of Christopher Watts that we can learn from, that we can help promote awareness for others to learn from. If you think it's normal to dose up kids with Benadryl and Tylenol every night, think again. If you think it's normal to stuff your kids in bed at night at 6:30 p.m. and expect them to lay there for 12 hours straight behind locked doors, think again. If you think it's normal to sign up for multiple product-based multi-level marketing companies and then to pretend like you actually had a job, think again. If you think it's normal to call your kids monsters and to say hi, Bella, say hi, Bella, say hi, Bella, think again. When you're discussing this case, don't become defensive and angry because you may actually see yourself in some of those behaviors. Instead, take a second look at your own behavior, your own parenting, and ask yourself, do you call your husband names? Do you spend your family into bankruptcy? Do you lie? Do you trash talk your own children? Do you feed your kids noodles and pizza and then pretend to your online quote unquote friends that you care about nutrition? Do you need help and you know it? But you choose to hop on Facebook and follow around all the little support groups for fresh ideas on new illnesses you can claim to have? Do you like the attention that having sick children brings you? Do you pretend like you're some kind of hero if you take your kids to the emergency room? Do you have refrigerator art? I hope so. If not, then get some. Learn from this case. And if you have a friend in your life or a relative in your life who is acting the way Christopher Watts' wife was acting in those videos, be a badinsky. Because Bella and Cece and children just like Bella and Cece now deserve to have badinskys on this planet. Just my opinion. What do you guys think? Are you a badinsky? If you're a badinsky already, good for you. If you're not a badinsky, think about becoming one. Join the team. Join the club. Be a badinsky. You can make a good difference in other children's lives, besides your own children even, right? You can ensure that your kids will grow up to be responsible, healthy, hardworking, great parents, right? Great spouses, great people, by encouraging them to do their own laundry, by encouraging them to help you in the kitchen, right? And again, I don't want to use the word help you because You're not the only cook in the house. They just might not know it yet that they're cooks too. Don't be their maid. They don't want you to be. Even if they might think they do, they don't. I just saw Jackie's comment that says you're wrong. Y-O-U-R. So I'm going to scroll up to see what she's talking about. Well, I don't see anything before that. So I guess you're wrong. Y-O-U-R is a standalone. Let's see here. Kay Cooper says SW is so fake that she had fake friends. Oh, here's Jackie. No, there's Jackie saying you're wrong. Kay Cooper says, I honestly don't think anyone cared to tell her the truth, or they were scared to tell her the truth. I think people just didn't want to set her off. M says, superficial acquaintances. She has very few real life friends. Applegate says, true friends, real friends tell you the truth. The hard truth. Real friends tell you the hard truth. Jackie says, maybe so, but she was a great mother. Ooh, Jackie, interesting. Would you like to hop up on the panel? I'd love to hear more. I'll go ahead and post the link. If you'd like to hop up, I would love to hear more about how you have reached the opinion that she was a great mother. There's the link. Kay Cooper says, LOL, Jackie, get out of here. She was abusive. Applegate says, if you think she was a great mom, please seek help. Jeanette says she looked after children all her life, says FRs. I don't know what children she looked after. I don't know. Cali Girl says, exactly. I want a bite of this. Oh, you want a laptop? M says, I hope Jackie's being sarcastic. LOL. Lots of love. Applegate says, I was taught in professional development classes that Munchausen by proxy is much more common than most people think. I think it is much more common than people realize. It's very hard for the medical professionals and for law enforcement to recognize it when they see it. Kay Cooper says, always see something, say something. Applegate says, also, if you have a friend who was abused as a child, please be extra vigilant because it's usually a cycle. I think it was with SW. Samantha says, lost connection. M says, amen. Mrs. Sluffer says, I want them to be my age and can say my mom taught me how to do things and we did stuff together. Exactly. Mrs. Sluffer says, I don't have real life friends because I have no tolerance for people who act like what we're talking about and I can't be nice. Samantha says, it stinks me that people can think she was a great mother. Are we watching some video? Nurse Tara says, this comment is a joke, right? Jackie, if you don't want to hop up on panel, that's cool, honey. But maybe you could post in the comment thread then some examples maybe, or point us to a video that showed her being a good mom. Callie Girl says, I still think that 10,000 went to pay her caregivers. I think caretakers like take care of cemeteries and stuff. I don't know, not sure. They were probably behind on paying, or maybe somebody just pocketed the 10 grand. Nurse Tara says, all you have to do is watch her videos and you'll see blatant abuse and neglect. Absolutely no emotional connection to the girls. I do think that bonding did not occur. Well, Tennyson, really, I say that to people when they tell me that they think that she was a great mom. I ask to see what video that can be seen in, because so far nobody has linked me up with any video. Yeah, if that 10,000 disappeared, I pretty much I'm thinking that somebody else was taking care of the money. Nurse Tara says some people are very disillusioned with SW because of the media, unfortunately. Yeah, when you have the mainstream media saying and showing the photo of her when she was pregnant with Cece nearly 4 years before the tragedy, showing photos that are almost 4 years old and saying, oh, this terrible evil monster killed. He admitted to killing. He admitted to murdering his family. No, he didn't. Oh, he was having an affair. Jackie says, why won't you let me in? You're not in, Jackie. You haven't come up at all on the thingy. I'll post the link again. There it is. Try again, because it never came up. There's nothing showing up here, so I don't know. Are you clicking on it? Will someone else do me a favor and just click on the link and see what happens when you click on it? I won't put you on the panel, I promise. Just click on the link. You won't go right up on the thing. It'll go to what they call backstage. Click on the link and see if it comes up. Nurse Tara says, exactly. Why didn't they show the ones of the girls covered up with heavy blankets in their cribs with their faces covered? Ooh, Callie, if you clicked on it, nothing came up backstage. So there's something weird here. Okay, let's see. What does it say, Callie girl? Let me do this. I'll make my thing smaller. Maybe I have my thing too big. Nope. There's nothing here. I'm muted? It doesn't say muted. Can you hear me now? Okay, if you can click on it and it looks like it works, then why? Oh, there you are. Okay. It says devices not connected. Whoever has the name Dark Chocolate, which I think I might know who that is, it says devices not connected. It said Top Safari. What's that mean? Oh, geez, I think we're getting in over my head here. Can you guys hear me okay? It says Safari and Google. Really? Okay, what do we do then? Okay, good. I'm glad you can hear me. I'm going to look at settings and just see if there's anything. Okay, I'll click on guests. It says guests must authenticate. I'll unclick that here a second. I don't know. I'll go under general. Okay, I don't see anything under settings that's going to help us. Usually when people come up on panel, the little thing appears. Aw, that's so cute. The first graders are waiting for the recess that they so desperately need. Good for you, Miss Badskirt. Now, if we can figure out how to do this backstage routine, I mean, we've done it before. Here's something. It says invite. Invite guests to the broadcast studio. Send this link to your guests. You may also want to share instructions for guests. Yeah, that's the link I posted. Copy. I'll post it again. That's the same one because I remember the last part of it. Try it again, you guys. Jackie, try that last one again because I just copied and pasted the one that they had. Because dark chocolate appeared, but it said device is not connected. I don't know why. Hang in there, Jackie. Let's try to get this figured out because it'd be really good. Oh, maybe it's this thing. Oh, that's just for the layout. Yeah, I put the link in, but we've only had one show up in backstage. Here's the link again. Will you try it, Paula? See if you can come on. DG says that mine said must be vaccinated. That's got to be it. It's because of COVID, you guys. If not for COVID, then this thing would be working right? Okay, good. Cali Girl's going to try again. Okay, Star Mama came right up. So, Jackie, will you try again? Because that link works perfectly for Star Mama. I'll post it again. Jackie, I hope you didn't take off. I want to hear why you think that Christopher Watt's wife was such a great mom. I seriously want to hear it because we hear that a lot, but I don't know. I'd like to hear what you think. It says Chrome, Google, and Safari. Yeah, I don't know why it's saying any of that. Star Mama, are you on a regular computer? Maybe it's something with phones or computers or something. Because Cali Girl, yours isn't coming up. I see Star Mama, but I don't see anyone else backstage. Dang. Well, Jackie, try us again, okay? Because this normally works. Okay, then that's not it. Okay. Huh. I have no idea. Why can one come up but the others can't? That makes no sense. Oh, justice for the win. That's interesting. Because that was a banned one, right? And I just did the thing opening up the door. And then kaboom, here's justice for the win. You want to come up, Justice? You can tell us why Jackie thinks that Christopher Watt's wife was such a great mom. Yeah, try again, Jackie. I'll do the link again. But Justice for the Win, do you want to come up? You guys remember Justice for the Win, right? Oh, good. If Star Mama comes up with you, that'd be fun. Tell me in the chat thread, Justice, if you want to come up. And Jackie, keep trying. This little live chat's about to get interesting if we can get this link to work, right? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and click on Justice to put you up on the panel. And Star Mama, you want to join Justice, hopefully? There's Justice. Hi, Justice.
Hiya.
Hiya.
That's really interesting. I unblocked you like seconds ago, and then poof, here you are.
That's weird. Who's
Hey,
that?
everybody.
Hey, Paula.
Hey,
How
Paula.
y'all doing? Hi.
Do you guys have any snow where you're at?
No, not yet.
Not in
No,
the
we don't get
UK.
snow.
Good for you. Good for you. I have no idea how many inches of snow, but I have plowed through enough of it already.
Where are you in America?
I live in Texas,
Oh, yeah.
right next to the Gulf of Mexico. So we don't get snow very seldom.
Yeah, it was
I've
hot
seen it
there.
twice in 35 years. So yeah.
Oh, smart girl. You are a very smart woman.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I lived in it for 35 years back when I lived in Missouri. So I'm well aware of
Oh,
what it is. Yes.
So you
you've
can
had both
appreciate
sides.
the sunshine.
Yeah, I appreciate this weather now. Absolutely.
So tell us, Justice for the Win, since it looks like the link isn't working for Jackie, do you want to fill in for Jackie and tell us your reasons for the opinion that Christopher Watt's wife was a great mom?
Well, I'm not here to say like Shanann was like the perfect mother, but I absolutely don't think she was an abusive mother or that she had Munchausen syndrome by proxy in any way, like you've gone on about for a long time, because there's just no evidence to support that.
Hey, Justice,
It's
have you gone back and actually, with an open mind, watched her videos?
yeah,
All of them?
well, I don't know about all of them, but I've watched a lot of them, and I've watched the ones where um like people make the strongest criticisms, like the Christmas video and things like that.
maybe you should go watch the one where she did her makeup tutorial on there.
Saw it, I've seen it.
You seen the one that was 45 minutes long? Not the one with Chris, but the one by herself where she's in the bathroom and um, the kids are Bella and everything, and Cece's waking up for naps, and how she's saying how they're destroying her bathroom, carrying
No,
on and on. You need
no,
to
I
watch
haven't
that
seen
one.
that one.
That was the one that was the biggest eye opener. That one right there.
Are these videos still accessible?
Oh yeah, yeah. Mhm. And just as you know me, you talk.
Yeah,
You know who
'cause
I am.
you were with Dorothy when she started her channel, weren't you?
Exactly. And I was
Yeah,
with Kelsey too. Yeah.
yeah. No, I
Mhm.
like you.
And I say it like it is, I don't
Yeah.
fooling around, about it. But it was, I mean, I was where you are at one time, believe me. And I had to go back. I had a friend say, clear your mind, go back and look at everything, research everything. It may take you weeks or months. Go back in there and look again and see what. And this person has no interest at all in most of it.
But I've been looking at the case for, say, I don't know, 2 years,
Hmm.
and like something that keeps being brought up again by like anti Shanann people is that she wasn't allowed to be alone with the kids. Yeah. Well, that's provably false.
Let me interrupt you just for a second, Justin for the win, or Justice for the win. We call you Justin all the time.
No, can you call me Justice, please? Because that's what it is.
Yes, yes. There are no anti Christopher Watts wife people. There are pro Bella and Cece people, and there's a very distinct difference.
No, that's semantics.
Go ahead. I muted after I said that. I just wanted to say that.
I just think that's semantics.
Mm. Well, let me ask you this, just this one thing, and I want you to listen just totally, just won't send me for a second. What do you think of a mother that gives a child Benadryl and Tylenol every single night and puts them to bed at 6:30? What do you think of that? Little bitty kids that need to be up. They get home from school, they're home, they eat, they get a bath, and an hour and a half later, they're in bed. They get up and they go to school, and they're at school by 7, or nursery care, whatever you want, daycare, whatever, by 7:30 in the morning. That doesn't, and they take naps at school, but you have to give them Benadryl and Tylenol every night. Do you know how hard that is on
Okay,
anybody's
can we
kidneys?
just establish, like, obviously I'm from the UK, yeah? Do you know Tylenol?
Mm-hmm.
Is that paracetamol?
No, it's like you take for fever, amphetamine. I forget what you call it.
Acetaminophen or
Yeah,
ibuprofen or something,
yeah,
whichever.
yeah.
Okay, ibuprofen's not a sedative.
I didn't say it was a sedative. Benadryl can have a sedative
Yeah,
effect. The
Benadryl is.
Tylenol is for fever.
And when
And
she
the
said, I
combination
give them
of the
lots and
two.
lots of Tylenol, I
Hmm.
think that was obviously tongue in cheek, because no mother would say that seriously.
Whoa, 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 whoa! Why was that obviously tongue in cheek? She was drugging her kids every night at 6:30, and then she said, "I gave them lots of Tylenol." Why would that be tongue in cheek?
But how can you prove it wasn't?
Why would you think it was?
Well, how come when family members watched and they said they'd open their little mouths like little birds and just let them put it in there?
Would that be Cindy Watts?
Not just Cindy, there was others involved too.
Who, and like this is an interesting
You
point.
have to go in, you go back in and read
No,
stuff.
I know,
And
no, honestly, right? I
investigate.
Miss Mensa blocked me and everything, but I do listen to what she has to say and everything. And oh, I've lost my train of thought now.
About the
Yeah,
medication.
that's it. I'm back. You were saying that at one point that Cindy Watts and Ronnie Watts were gaslighting Shanann, weren't you? Do you remember that?
I was saying that I was concerned about the differences in their stories and about their actions after they refused the help of a lawyer.
And you did use the word, but you did also say that you felt that maybe they were gaslighting Shanann, and I feel that maybe your
Right.
subscribers
Felt
then
like
put you
maybe they
under
were.
pressure.
Felt like maybe they were. Yes.
Yep.
And it
Yep.
wasn't Ronnie and Cindy. It was Cindy and Jamie.
Well, no, I remember you saying Ronnie and Cindy's story of the Nutgate incidents. Their stories were different.
No, it was the hairstylist incident.
So
And the gaslighting was about Jamie, not about Ronnie.
So in what way were they gaslighting about Jamie?
Well, let's correct that to begin with, okay? I didn't say anything about different stories about Nutgate. I said it concerned me about the different stories about the hairstylist. And then, second to that, I didn't say Ronnie and Cindy were gaslighting. I said possibly Jamie and Cindy were.
Is that video still up?
Who knows? Go look for it.
I remember it being Cindy and Ronnie having different stories. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be disrespectful.
Ronnie and Cindy did have different stories on the hairstylist, not on the Nutgate. On the hairstylist. Ronnie said
it was
that
about how long she was away or something, wasn't it?
How long she was away and who she called.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you also promote this whole thing that Shanann couldn't be alone with her children, yeah? Where there's just conclusive proof that that's not true.
Where's the conclusive proof?
Well, do you know the children went to daycare?
Right.
The headmistress of that school said that she never spoke to Chris Watts about any issues with the children regarding their daycare. She always dealt with Shanann, and it was Shanann who, the vast majority of the time, took them to daycare and picked them up. That's Shanann
really?
alone with the kids.
Where do you find that information?
I never heard that.
I never heard that either, and I have a feeling he hasn't either.
If you go back, well, that's a bit rude, but if you find an interview with her,
well, can you find it and link it?
That. Not at this moment, I can't. I'm just telling you what I remember her saying.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I'm not sat here with a huge pad. Do you know what I mean?
But many times Chris got home from work, changed his clothes, got in the car to go pick the girls up. That's what I.
Yeah, she said the majority of the time she wanted to do so.
Definitely find that, Justice. Definitely find that and email it or put it in the private comment or something, and I'll try to post it.
I'll try to. I really will.
I've never heard that. I've never heard that. We've heard for over 3 years straight that Christopher Watts was the one that picked the girls up from daycare. He would get home from work, change his clothes, hop in the car, drive to the daycare center, and pick up the girls.
Okay, but think about this. Chris went to work about at like 6 o'clock in the morning or something. So who's taking the children to daycare?
Well, have we been talking quite a bit about the idea that there were caregivers?
Yeah, but there's no evidence of that.
There isn't?
You've never produced any documentation that
there
proves
isn't
that.
Evidence of that? Really?
There isn't, unless you can tell me now.
Well, one question would be why, if a friend dropped a friend off at, 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah.
Why 5 hours later would they be concerned if she isn't answering her phone 5 hours later?
Because Shanann was incredibly active on her phone. Like Nicole Atkinson said, she always heard from her first thing in the morning and everything. And other
5 hours later?
Other friends were, and also like she had a doctor's appointment that morning, which she didn't attend, which is worrying.
I'm talking 5 hours later. 5 hours later.
Yeah, I understand. I do understand this aspect, and I do understand that is pretty fast to get worried about someone. Yeah, I do acknowledge that. Yeah, But I
Okay.
But
think
5
it
hours
was
later, it's not even, they weren't even at school. I mean, they were already concerned. They were making phone calls to the school at 8 in the morning. Why?
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 it,
A
Yeah.
it's
pregnant mom? A
it's
pregnant mom who
disputed.
just flew in? Maybe
It's
they were going to have a late morning. Why was anybody concerned?
Uh-huh.
it's disputed as to who was phoning the school, and that the reason why that would be important because it was their first day at this school that the parents were very eager to get their children into. Do you know what I
What?
mean?
They've been to
They
school there
were.
before.
What are you
They've been,
talking about?
yeah, they've gone to school there before. That wasn't their first day at a new school. It was their first day
It was for
going
Bella,
back,
wasn't it?
going back
Because
to
she
school.
was going to school properly for the first time. This wasn't daycare. This was school.
Oh,
Well,
really? Because she wasn't
thank
even old
God.
enough to start school.
She was. She was 5, wasn't she?
And
No.
no, she wasn't. And
She
if you dig
was. Like,
in,
she was verging on 5. She was.
she was past the deadline, Justice. She wasn't able to go to kindergarten. And if you listen
So where
closely
was she going that morning then?
to the daycare center,
The daycare center, the same
the
place.
same daycare center she had been going to since February of 2017, full time.
Or Bella Bow.
And if you pay attention to that whole claim that they were starting Bella in kindergarten, that was for the following week anyway. That whole weird claim when she wasn't even old enough to start kindergarten.
But why then did Chris Watts phone the school? Yeah, which
Chris
obviously
Watts phoned the school.
implements him massively as well, because he didn't just say they weren't coming that day. He said they weren't going to be
Why
at
were
that
there
school
why were
anymore.
there women calling the school saying, "Don't tell him I called"? Why were there women calling the school very early on saying,
So as not
"Are
to
they
spook,
here?"
Chris Watts, and it's also been proven that the calls didn't all go through to the same person. So
Why
you had
didn't Christopher Watts' mother-in-law call Christopher Watts' wife?
was the phone even like when Nikki got it from behind the sofa? Was the phone even on? We don't know that.
Well, why didn't Christopher Watts' mother-in-law call Christopher Watts' wife? If she didn't know where she was.
She may have, for all we know, have tried to, but her phone wasn't on.
Well, it would still show up.
Yeah, it shows up as missed calls.
It would show up on the
So
phone
you've
record.
got in the phone records, Sandy never tries to phone her daughter.
Not at that
That
time.
You can
That's
prove that, yeah?
that's the claim being made if you look at the discovery docs that there was not a call coming from that number.
Mm-hmm.
So why not?
The problem with the discovery, though, is there's so much missing from it.
And sealed. Why? Why keep it all if everything's all
I
on the
don't
up
know,
and
but
up?
it goes
You did
from like evidence mention 82 to then 85, and you'll get 85, 86, then 87 will be missing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? The discovery does
Yeah, there's
not
things they
give us the full
redacted too.
picture.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of things that's missing in there. If you go back, I've listened to the original interviews with all of the certain family members, and a lot of things are questionable in those interviews that I missed a
But
long time ago.
like, let's get down to brass tacks here. Yeah, what is the advantage of the police? Massively, and they would have to be, and this would have to be a conspiracy to protect Shanann. Why? Because there's been plenty of mothers who have murdered their children and everything and gone down for it, yeah? So what makes Shanann Watts so special that they'd want to sort of start some conspiracy against her and protect her?
Well, I guess if there was a family plan in place and she was not allowed to be alone with the children and somehow she was able to harm the children, then possibly
that wouldn't come back on the police.
I never said it would. You're the one who is talking about the police. But that would mean then that if the truth was that she wasn't allowed to be near the children alone without supervision and somehow the children were murdered, well, maybe it'd be a lot more convenient to,
No, it wouldn't. It would
tell
be
the
bad for
doorman.
it would be bad for social services, yeah. It wouldn't mean anything to the police.
Well, you're the one saying the police, so I don't know. That's your
Well, this case went to the police. On that morning, the police were involved right from the start.
right.
Yeah.
So another thing that we've been told that I think is credible and believable is that she was caught medically abusing the children in December of 2016. So if she was caught,
explain how.
if she was caught and she wasn't prosecuted, I don't know. What do you think?
Well, no, you tell me in what way was she caught? Because if she's caught, there's a record of this, yeah.
Well, if she was caught,
There would be a record of it.
What we're being told, well, there are all sorts of records out there, aren't there, of all sorts of different things.
No,
And no matter
I'm
what
asking
records
you.
are there,
I'm asking you specifically: is there a record of Shanann Watts being caught abusing her children? Because if there had been, I think we'd have all heard of it by now.
well, what we've been told is that she was caught by hospital staff medically abusing both Bella and Cece in December of 2016.
And who told you that?
If you pay attention...
If you're going to say a source told me that, it means nothing, does it?
If you pay attention to the timeline during that time frame, it seems pretty coincidental that the quote-unquote friend who was a nurse who worked at that hospital suddenly was no longer in her life from that day forward.
Friendships break down all the time, but like the motive you've given for that friendship breaking down, you have absolutely no proof for.
And then suddenly both girls are put in daycare full time, even though they had a stay-at-home mother. And both girls are in daycare full time.
Who literally took them to daycare and picked them up on the majority of occasions. So if she's not allowed to be alone with the kids, how is that possible?
Well, you're claiming that the headmistress claims, but we don't have any proof on that either, do we?
There even seems to be videos from what I've watched where she seems to be alone with the children.
Seems to be. And in some of those videos...
Oh, like, if you're just going to say, like, oh, there's somebody else in the house upstairs, I mean...
Well, the one video where she said she was alone with the children, she in fact wasn't alone with the children because her mother can be seen running along in the background.
Up and down, yep.
So, I mean, she stood right there and claimed she was, doing the supermom thing, and her mother was running out in the background.
Right, okay, would you at least give me the credit that there are videos that just show her and the children? No speculation, I'm just stating it as a fact. In the video, the only people there that you can see are Shanann and her children. Would you at least give me that? From what you can see.
One thing
I see one video where it looks like she's alone with the children for probably 2 minutes, and they're both screaming hysterically. And I have a feeling the reason they're screaming hysterically is because they just realized their dad was gone.
Her dad, oh God, like, I just don't believe you're being completely honest with yourself there, because you're so hard on this theory that there was some kind of care plan in place, that when you see evidence against it, you're not acknowledging it.
Why were the girls hysterical?
Kids get hysterical all the time.
No, they don't.
No, I've had 6. Mine never got hysterical around.
I've had 3. Mine didn't go hysterical either.
What do you mean by, like, kids cry all the time?
Yes.
No, they don't, Justice.
In front of their mom and dad, not in front of their own parents. They don't just do
No,
that.
they don't.
It's not normal.
Exactly. It is not normal at all. And the way
Well, I'm sorry. Like, yeah, I'll admit I don't have children of my own, and I don't want children. Yeah, but I've been around like my nieces, my nephews, and all that, and everything. And I've been in public with people with children and everything. Like, I've been like at restaurants or something, and people's kids get hysterical, and it's really annoying.
Did you ever see a 4-year-old go hysterical?
Yeah.
What was the circumstances?
God knows I wasn't like listening to the how it all started, but they start screaming and crying.
Did they go hysterical or were they throwing a fit?
Hang on, like, what do you mean by going hysterical?
Those girls were desperate. Those girls were absolutely terrorized. Why?
I honestly don't see, like, you go on about all the sadness in Bella's eyes, and
Yeah.
I just don't see it. I like that video where Shanann said she was pregnant to the both of them, yeah. And they both ran up to her and hugged her and everything. They always also wanted to be with their mother rather than their father.
Who said?
That's interesting.
Who said?
Their own father.
Oh, well, he's credible.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to say he's credible, but
Well, I mean, it's interesting because we've watched for over 3 years where if he says, she always made nutritious meals, then, she always made nutritious meals, but they leave out the part about the noodles and the pizza. Yeah. Question for you, Justice. What made her a great mom?
Yeah.
Well, from Facebook videos that were made to promote Thrive, yeah, I'm not taking anything from that on her mothering abilities. But Frankie also said it when they were in North Carolina. He was with the kids in the house, and Shanann was on a phone outside, and he was saying they were just crying and desperately wanted to be with their mother, but their mother was like busy on a phone call.
How well did they know
Frankie? And they calmed down.
Justice,
when they got to
Shanann. Justice, how well did they know Frankie?
I know Frankie didn't see a lot of the kids. I'm not up here to defend Frankie.
The first time Cece had ever seen Frankie.
How often had they ever seen Frankie?
Like, I've heard estimates that he only ever saw like Cece on 2 occasions. Like the time they went to North Carolina, and wasn't there one before that?
No, he's seen Cece for the first time when they went to North Carolina.
Which means he hadn't seen Bella since she was, 10 months old, 12 months old?
Like I say, I've not...
So the girls then, at that point, wouldn't have known him, right?
Mm-hmm.
No,
and then their mother went outside.
So maybe they would cry, thinking he was a stranger.
I haven't come up to defend Frankie. I don't...
Well, nobody's attacking him here, but it's a simple question. If that's the example of her being a great mom because the girls went hysterical when she went outside and ignored them, I don't see that being great mom material.
No, but I see in those videos lots of instances where the girls look happy around Shanann.
And what about the whole idea that she would have stayed on the phone when her girls were hysterical? What was so important on that phone call?
Well, I can't. None of us on this panel can say what that phone call was about. So we're not in a position to say.
Well, maybe it was about spotting and cramping and not going to the emergency room. I don't know.
Oh, maybe it was, but maybe it wasn't. So it's irrelevant.
Well,
we can stand here and speculate all day long, but we don't know.
My point is that she had some very serious things going on that she didn't follow through with. I guess was it a Thrive phone call?
Well, you'd love it to be, wouldn't you? You'd love it to be a Thrive phone call. But
I would love it if you could
that.
give me an example of her being a great mom. I'm serious. If you can give us an example of her being a great mom, please do. But I don't think her hanging on the phone, ignoring 2 screaming children is an example of her being a great mom. So please give us an example of her being a great mom.
That was the eye-opener in that makeup tutorial for me.
I've not seen this makeup tutorial video, but like in those videos, the ones I've seen, I don't see an abusive mother. I really don't.
Mhm. Can I
And
ask
to
you? I want to ask
speculate,
you one thing, Justice. One thing. Can you explain to me just one thing? Just put everything else aside. Why, on the day that this happened, everybody went missing, all this stuff happened. Why did her mom ask NA to check knife drawer for knives? Why would your mom ask somebody to check on them if they didn't have a concern about your mental stability?
okay, this would be my answer, yeah?
Okay.
When we know that when she was in North Carolina, that the marriage was in big trouble and that Shanann was very upset because we know she was trying to save her marriage because she gave Chris Watts a book, didn't she, on like healing a marriage,
Whoa, whoa,
and
whoa, whoa,
she
whoa,
was
whoa,
reading. Can
whoa.
you let me
Hold on.
speak?
Hold on to your thought. We know she was trying to work on her marriage because she bought him a book.
No, I'm not
She
just
wants her
saying
to
that, but it's an
believe.
example. If you don't want to be with somebody anymore, you're not going to go to the trouble to give them a book on how to save a
Not going to
marriage, are
leave
you?
them. Not going to leave the marriage for 6 weeks either.
Yeah, and you're also not going to say your mother is evil and your dad's dumb.
All that happens all the time. People don't get on with their in-laws all the time. Let me just carry on, yeah? She's in North Carolina. It's
No,
obvious she's
listen.
upset.
If
Oh,
she's
okay,
trying
I'm not
to
allowed to
save
speak.
if she's trying to save her marriage, then she is not calling his mother evil and saying that he will see them or the children will see them over her dead body. That isn't trying to save her marriage.
That is something women do consistently. Whenever a breakup is happening, the first weapon, and I'm not saying all women by any means, but a lot of women use children as weapons, and some of the first words that come out of their mouth when you break up with them are, "You're never seeing your kids again."
Okay, but to save the marriage, you're presenting it that because she was trying so desperately to save her
No,
marriage.
you asked me a question about the knives. I'm trying to answer it, and you're not letting me.
Okay, well, I just want to interject that I don't think it's a given that she was trying to save the marriage. I think from what I've taken a look at, I think that marriage was already over.
I know you hold that opinion. My opinion is she wouldn't have gone to the trouble to give him that book for a start. She wouldn't have gone to the trouble to try and reason with him in text messages and everything about saving the marriage. She was clearly upset in North Carolina.
And you don't
It's
talk to a divorce
right, yeah.
lawyer if you're not thinking about
And then she goes home. She's missing. Yeah.
She goes home.
Is her mother maybe slightly worried that she's harmed herself?
She goes home claiming that she's spotting and cramping, and she doesn't bother to see her doctor. Instead, she gets on a plane and goes to a sales seminar.
and sick the whole time she's there.
The way her mind may have been at that time, it wouldn't have surprised me. And this is going to sound awful to a lot of people and everything, but she could have been conflicted about having that baby, being a single mother with two children already, and then having a third. Maybe that's why she wasn't going to the doctor.
Why did she ask Christopher Watts, would you stay with me if we didn't have kids?
To find out if he loved her for her.
But they had kids.
Yeah, but like she obviously didn't want to just stay with him just for the kids. Many women don't. If I wouldn't want to be with someone, say we had children, and I said, if we didn't have children, would you be with me? And if they said no, that'd be the end of it.
Why did she tell her friends that every time she tried to talk to her husband about their relationship, he replied that he was not going to lose the girls?
Well, as we know now that he was planning what he did, um, that's him thinking, well, everything I say from this point on, I need to be careful, and I need to look like I really care for my girls. Because we all know what he did. You can't deny what he did.
Justice,
I don't believe he
okay,
did.
right.
So, yeah.
Go ahead and answer
I
the
know
question.
you guys don't believe he killed the children, even though there's complete evidence that at least one of the children was alive, after Shanann was dead. And like I've asked you before,
You can
I
Justice,
don't
go
see how
ahead.
a dead woman can kill her child.
Justice, go ahead and answer the question. Why did Christopher Watts' mother-in-law tell the friend to check the knives?
I've answered it.
Because she was upset in North Carolina?
Because she was deeply upset. God, you've seen that photo of her in the car. She looks absolutely just washed away.
Yeah.
People do. Do you know when major things happen, like, divorces or the loss of a family member and everything? Yeah. People do contemplate suicide.
Why was there an insurance policy on Christopher Watts' wife that did not list Christopher Watts and the children as beneficiary?
I can't answer that because I don't even know if it's true.
Well, it's true because her parents got the money. I can tell you that. There's all kinds of stuff you can go and panel.
I'd have to hear the parents say that. So like,
you don't believe the
that.
paperwork where it shows they.
Well, yeah, like if you can show the paperwork, mind you, on the internet, that could be like fake. No, I'd like to hear the family say that.
Well, if you would have been
she had
around,
life insurance.
if you would have been around the first year, then there would have been all sorts of information about it.
There's more information out there now about it than there ever has been.
Not true. Not true.
Why?
Well, because certain videos can no longer be found, right?
But those videos were basically only saying what you've been saying since I've ever heard you.
Well, I mean, it simply isn't true that there's more information out there now than there was 3 years ago. That isn't true.
Information stacks up. People remember what was said.
And information gets scrubbed too.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of censorship on YouTube, which I don't agree with. Yeah,
I'm not talking about censorship on YouTube.
What are you talking about then?
Did you see the quitclaim deed?
The quitclaim deed. Is that what you just said?
Yes.
Explain it to me.
There was a quitclaim deed posted on the public site showing that Christopher Watts' wife signed off ownership of the house during the bankruptcy. And then that disappeared.
In what year?
During the bankruptcy.
Yeah. In what year was that?
2015.
2015, yeah.
And then when people started talking about it back in 2018, after the tragedy occurred, then suddenly that quitclaim deed disappeared. So I'm just saying that in response to your claim that there's more information. There's a lot of information that is no longer readily available to the newer viewers, like the Netflix.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. But like, don't you I never hear you talk about the affair Chris Watts was having. Yeah,
because I don't think the affair had anything to do with anything. I think that marriage was over long before. I don't think he started doinking his coworker until long after the marriage was over.
I think he started earlier than she said. Personally, she'd Googled Shanann.
Well, people claim that, but in 2018 there was a whole lot of information showing that it wasn't her Googling anybody. Which again, there's conflicting storylines.
Yeah, like I say, I hear you say lots of things, yeah. And if you could corroborate them and prove them, they would mean so much more. But I'm sorry, you never do.
Well, that isn't true either, Justice. That isn't true either.
But just saying something doesn't make it true.
Well, I'll give you a good example of that, Justice.
Called hearsay.
I'm sorry, Miss Massa, but you never corroborate anything you say. Just saying something doesn't make it true.
Yeah, it's hearsay.
Oh, brother.
Well, it is.
You
not okay, right? We go to court. We go to court, and you make claims about me and everything, yeah? But you don't have any evidence. What are they going to call it? Hearsay.
Justice, this is YouTube.
Yeah, where people can go off into Fantasy Island and say what the hell they like. You've got to acknowledge that. There are channels that have gone like, this didn't even happen. There's crazies out there.
This is YouTube. Hearsay doesn't exist on YouTube.
Oh, God. What an unintelligent thing to say. Proof is always proof. If you can corroborate it.
Really? Proof? Like, what would be proof, Justice? Would that be like when scumbag attackers create fake profiles and then they post stuff online and
this
put it in videos and then they say,
okay.
Hold on.
Yeah, okay.
And then they put it in videos and then they say, here are my receipts. They leave out the part that they created those receipts all on their own.
Yeah, I agree.
Right?
But what I don't understand with you is you've always said that what you call the scumbag attackers, and please don't take this personally, I think you've gotten a little paranoid over it, yeah, because every YouTuber gets,
you know what, Justice?
every YouTube.
I'm going to go ahead and mute Mr. Wonderful here. Don't be offended, but I think you're a little paranoid. Really, Justice? Listen up. If you did have children and grandchildren, and if you did have a group of criminal thugs attempting to harm you and your family, maybe you'd speak up. If you did receive death threats, maybe you'd speak up. If a bunch of criminal thugs who are addicted to Adderall and their freebie government phones spent 24/7 harassing you and your family, maybe you'd speak up. There's nothing at all about what has happened over the last over 3 years now that should lead any normal person to believe that I'm paranoid about the scumbag attackers. They're scumbags. They're criminals. A lot of them are druggies, and most of them have never worked a day in their lives. I have stood firm against their bullshit, sometimes with as many as 300 or 400 of them attacking me at the same time. And you have the audacity, within seconds of me unblocking you from this channel, to hop up here and to tell me that I sound paranoid? I don't think so. Well, that was fun. I don't know. Tell me if I missed it, or tell me again. What evidence is there that Christopher Watt's wife was a great mom? I must have missed it. Three of a Kind makes a very good point. Remember what they did to Nurse Tara? I wonder if Nurse Tara is just being paranoid. Nurse Tara was on the job at the hospital with a patient who was dying. And the scumbag attackers targeted her and attempted to convince her employer to fire her. Paranoid? Yeah. Okay. I agree, Star Mama. And I think it's interesting. You know, I'm not that techno savvy, as we know. But don't you find it very interesting that literally within seconds, you guys heard me when I went into that part of the thingy and I clicked on that thing, which would have released, it would have opened the door for anyone who had been blocked, right? Don't you find it incredibly interesting that after over a year of being blocked, that within seconds of that door being opened, that he wanted to hop up on the panel? Scripted, organized, recruited, scumbag attackers? Yes, they are. And they're all singing the same song. One thing I noticed recently is that the scumbag attackers are now saying, I've been covering this case for over 4 years. You know, we already know that they're relatively challenged when it comes to correct spelling, right? Evidently, they can't count either. But over and over again, the scumbag attackers, yeah, I've been covering this case for over 4 years. They must have missed school early on when they learned how to add and subtract. That one example of the girls being hysterical when they were inside the house and Christopher Watt's wife was talking on the phone out in the back, outside. If your daughters have suddenly gone hysterical, do you think maybe you can hang up your phone long enough to see what's going on? Star Mama says it's another form of attack. They get scripts. When we seem to touch on a certain subject. I have absolutely no doubt but what they're scripted. And I think their scripts are getting a little bit boring. Take a look at the two who are pretending to fight with each other. They don't even have interesting scripts at all. It's the same old thing over and over again. And both of them are saying to their subs, be sure to include your address. If you don't know the term yet, you should learn about it. It's called data mining. And with what we have witnessed over the last 3 years, handing over your address to any of those channels, in my opinion, is not a good idea. You may not be getting attacked today. Maybe you haven't been attacked over the last 3 years. But you sure as hell should not be sending in your addresses to any of the scumbag attackers. Good point, Star Mama. You don't take off for 6 weeks if you're working on your marriage. And the book? Really? And then didn't she contact him immediately when her little phone told her that it was just delivered? Like, that's the way to do it, honey. Micromanage the man, for sure. I guess don't worry about the fact that he's drinking his coworker, but dang, he better read that book fast, and that'll help. You know, one thing I noticed, you guys, she claimed that she didn't go to the emergency room when she was spotting and cramping because she was out of network, right? But in all those text messages and all of those, you know, comments people made, did you see her worrying very much at all, I guess, or discussing with her husband anything about the spotting and cramping? Samantha, I had that thought. He's the one who didn't know when Cece's birthday was. And he also obviously had no clue when the bankruptcy was either, as he just showed. Three of a Kind says the Shiners always refer to the book when you ask how she was trying to save their marriage. I think that's all they got. That's the go-to. Well, I wish we could have figured out how to get Jackie up here because I think Jackie wanted to hop up on the panel. If you're still listening, Jackie, I'll drop the link again. Or if anybody else wants to hop up, feel free. And if you want to hop up and tell us why you think Christopher Watt's wife was a great mom, please do. Remember, all opinions are welcome here. Well, okay, maybe not Justice's opinion. I tried, though. I let him up there. Three of a Kind says, Justice, how on earth can it be 3 years later and you still haven't done an ounce of research? You don't even know basic information. Again, go and read The Curious Case of Christopher Watts, then talk. I think it's interesting that within seconds, he was ready to hop up on the panel. So what's that mean, like from a techno angle? That they have something set to see as soon as they can? Like, how would he have known, right? Or is it just automatically regenerating, like that message that I received from AD that kept automatically regenerating new nicknames for a long list of people, including me? Exactly, Nurse Tara. Exactly. They need to attempt to discredit us with words like that, just like they have attempted for over 3 years to discredit Cindy Watts. Cindy Watts was told some very intimate details of Christopher Watts' wife's life. My hunch is that the efforts to discredit her are related to the information that Cindy Watts knows. So that in the event she does speak out about what she knows, then I guess the hope would be that people wouldn't believe her. Not only was he sent here, Star Mama, but he was sent here by somebody who is somehow able to get whatever signal or whatever, because it was within seconds of that door opening that he came through. Within seconds, after over a year. Nurse Tara says, I don't like how rude he was. He was very rude. He's always very rude. And he does the all or nothing crap. You know, it's a proven fact, XYZ, right? That whole headmistress thing, really? I betcha he never produces it. Betcha. This is how you get on the panel. I'll go ahead and link it again, or post the link. Whoops. Hold on here. There. That link that I just posted, that's how you get on the panel. You click on it, and then it'll go up to the backstage, and then I click on it. Star Mama says, if you can see those videos and see a great mom, then you are blind. I'll add one to that, Star Mama. If you can look at those videos and see a great mom, then I don't think you're a great mom. Just saying. If you see those videos and you see a great mom, then I want you to consider taking a closer look at your parenting, at your own parenting, and improve if you can. Put the cell phone down. Don't spend your family into bankruptcy. Tell the truth and get off your ass. Stop ordering your husband around to do everything that you should be doing yourself. Don't look into your phone and laugh with a bunch of strangers online that your husband will do whatever you tell him to. Don't mock your husband on social media. Don't mock your children. Don't drag your children to one doctor after another trying to get them diagnosed with ridiculous diseases. Don't give your kids Tylenol and Benadryl every night. Don't give your kids lots of Tylenol. If you're taking your kids to the emergency room, try to remember why the next morning when you're doing your video, because it comes across as pretty strange if you can't remember what your child was diagnosed with the night before. If you look at those videos and see a great mom, I hope you're taking your kids outside when they get home from daycare. If you take a look at those videos and you see a great mom, I hope that you are not using your children as pawns to try to keep your husband under control. If you see those videos and you see a great mom, then take a second look at the Whack-A-Daddy video and watch as she torments Bella to tears. Watch the Santa Claus video and ask yourself, why were the children so frightened? Santa Claus had not even entered the house yet, and they were already hysterical. Why was Bella afraid of everything? I'm still wondering how it was that within just seconds of unblocking Mr. Wonderful, that he came scooting right in the door. Well, I have my hunch, because I happen to know who he answers to. And I have a feeling the person he answers to spends 24/7 focused on attempting to make a name for herself, not because she has anything to offer, but from what I've seen, because she spends her time attempting to silence everybody else. No drawings, no refrigerator art, no dance classes, no ballet, no horse riding lessons, no nothing. Maybe transportation was an issue. The one when Cece was in her bed. Oops, I have to scroll up to keep reading this. Hold on. The one when Cece was in her crib and SW was being psycho, just standing there, Bella calling her, but she was tripping, just looking at Cece like she was being punished. Was that the one where she was kind of behind the doorway? Like maybe she wasn't allowed to go in? I wondered about that with Cece hanging off the bathroom counter. No pool trips, no park trips, no Disney, no hiking, no camping, no beach trips, no learning to ride their bicycles, no walking the dog. No proof of CPS, really? I bet they would love it if we produced some sort of proof of CPS, wouldn't they? They would love it. But what happens anytime any proof is presented? Well, pretty soon everything gets scrubbed, right? Pretty soon the new storylines come out. No watching fireworks on the 4th, no Easter baskets or Christmas gifts. Well, they did have photos, though, of the girls both being hysterical in front of the Easter Bunny and Santa Claus. And you know, the really eerie part is I don't think she realized that those videos were not exactly the goal, right? Scared of the hail, the dirt, the rain. I think from that Christmas video, they were scared of their own mother. Is there any proof that she was ever alone with the girls? I guess if you're going to ask the question, is there any proof that she wasn't allowed to be, then you might want to provide some proof that she actually ever was. You might want to have a ready answer for the question, why were both girls in daycare full-time while she sat on her duff at home? Why did Christopher Watts pick them up at the end of the day? Why were there locks on the kids' bedrooms? Why, over 3 years later, are the scumbag attackers still attempting to promote the narrative that we're told by a family member is evidently not the truth? Because remember, we were told by a family member that we're never going to know the truth. Well, if you're going to tell us that we're never going to know the truth, then that tells us that we're being lied to. Why, over 3 years later, are the scumbag attackers still organized, still producing the bullshit? Why? What have they been hired or recruited to achieve? Nurse Tara, maybe he was. Maybe he is actually, maybe it's one of those voice things. That could be. Because the head scumbag attacker doesn't know the case either. Just like our little guest on the panel. Why, when Cece was midway falling down the stairs, did she grab her phone to take a picture instead of grabbing the child? Why does everybody call her beautiful when she's plain? And what's this whole Italian princess crap? Really? Because her family well, one side of her family is not Italian at all. Why were the children slow and speech delayed? Why? 2 parents? One of them sitting on her duff all day? A daycare center, no doubt with qualified staff. Why were the children both appearing to be so far behind in their development? Why was she so hell-bent on getting the kids diagnosed with asthma? And why is it, I'm not a nurse, but for those of you who are, isn't it true that the list of diseases, illnesses, conditions, syndromes, whatever that she was, pretending or claiming to have, aren't they for the most part diseases, illnesses, conditions, and syndromes that are heavily reliant on patient reporting for diagnosis? There are 2 little girls who were murdered by one of their parents in what should have been the safety of their own home. And over 3 years later, there still appears to be a concerted effort to silence those of us who actually give a shit that Bella and Cece deserved far better in their lifetime than what we saw in those videos. White Dove says neither child was behind. I think they were smart, especially Bella. Do you think, White Dove, that they were normal in their development, or do you think that they were actually speaking as if they were far younger than their chronological age. Star Mama says she's been researching the disability angle, and she was going in that direction. I think she was on disability already herself, and I think she wanted to get the kids both on disability too. Daisy Day says they were afraid to talk. Cece didn't even talk. Cece did not have words. She knew how to scream, but she didn't have words. Why? Why wasn't Cece talking? She was 3 years old. Bella was turning 5 that December. She was more like a 3-year-old in her speech and language, and even I would say emotional development. Right, he came up on the panel to show us or tell us one video of good mother. The fearless leader, the scumbag attacker who I think was probably behind the initial targeting of 10 of us. I think she's either the person behind that profile using some sort of a voice app, which she has been known to do, or she's in his ear. And again, like I said, she doesn't know the case either. So that part would fit. Interesting. Very interesting. Three of a Kind says, oh wait, Nurse Tara says, why do people think it's so far-fetched for her to have had any CPS involvement? It happens every day. Well, it wouldn't go with the narrative, right? That she was perfect and smart and hardworking and successful and all that other stuff. Three of a Kind says, smart, are you for real? They were 3 and almost 5, and one couldn't talk. The other had incredibly limited vocabulary, and neither one of them could read or write. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Notice how they huddled together, too. Have you ever noticed that, you guys? How they didn't seem to have their own existence. They huddled together. Star Mama says, do you all see how they are turning on each other on YouTube? Buddies one day, a month later, enemies. LMAO. They are a joke. Well, that's their script, Star Mama. That's their script. That's how they do it. And they're trying to give all sorts of information, you know, all sorts of advice about defamation and suing people. And, you know, it's all adding to the overall script that they want people to be afraid to talk. Well, they're committing defamation themselves. And they actually are the ones who should be worried about getting sued. They're making videos trying to make it sound like they're suing others. Just imagine how their phone calls go. Okay, now tomorrow, let's do it. We're going to fight. Okay, yeah. Let's go with the second script. I like that one, but okay, yeah. Follow along. Okay. Hopefully we make a lot of money off of this. Daniel Bishop made a comment a long time ago that I've often considered. He said that when he was attacking me on a regular basis, that he was told, I don't know, maybe he had a moment of, regret for what he was doing. And he was told, don't worry about it. She isn't a real person. I think Daniel Bishop could do everybody a favor and come clean on exactly who it was who said that to him, who recruited him, who told him what to do and when to do it and how to do it. Who was he working for? Who was he conspiring with to harm others? So what this tells me, to have one of the scumbags jumping right up like that, what this tells me is they don't want us to keep talking about this case. That hasn't worked for them in the past, right? I've often said the only reason any of us are still even discussing this case from hell is because of the attacks against us, that we're looking at the attacks against us saying, what the hell is it they're trying so hard to hide? So if they're going to keep it up, then obviously we'll keep asking why. Exactly, Daisy Days. That's the way to say it. Spill the beans, Bishop. Come on, Bishop, spill the beans. Tell us what you know. And hop right up on the panel so that others can hear. Even though we've been told we'll never know the truth about this case, the truth still matters. And parallel to our case discussion on this case, the truth of the attacks against us, those of us they've targeted, that matters too. If that sounds like a voice changer, Nurse Tara, then that would make perfect sense, because I have no doubt she does nothing with her entire day and night than to sit there rubbing her chubby little hands together, saying, that bitch, she's still talking. Think about how young Bella and Cece were and how many times they had supposedly been to the doctor already. I like it how public opinion and perception of these MLM boss babes are being exposed as the fakes they are. Not fast enough, though. I never considered Christopher Watt's wife a boss babe by looking at any of those videos. I know that's kind of like the romantic view that some people like to claim. She wasn't abusive. She was just assertive. But if she was a man, they'd be saying, what an abuser. You know, boss babe is kind of like a cool moniker, right? No, it isn't. I don't think. For the case of Christopher Watts, I think she was being abusive toward her husband and toward her children and toward her in-laws too. Yes, Jeanette, we'll carry on. We will carry on. We will continue to discuss true crime cases on social media, including the case from hell, the case of Christopher Watts. And if the scumbag attackers have a problem with that, then they have only themselves to blame. Whoever hired or recruited them to do their dirty work for them, bad move. Bad move. Because you can't hire a bunch of criminal psychos and expect good results. So we will carry on. But for now, I think we'll all carry on with our own days in real life. And we'll try to get some good stuff done. We'll try to be productive. And I'm thinking that we're going to go ahead and hop on again tomorrow and check in with Samantha and see how she's doing. And at the very least, we can give her something to listen to when she's trying to fall asleep. So Samantha, until we hop on tomorrow, your job is to keep your feet up and to think positive thoughts and to know that we're thinking about you and we're praying for you and the baby to be safe and healthy, and for that little girl to wait a few weeks at least before she comes screaming into the world. Everybody else, I'm really glad you came. I think probably if we can do these live chats on a more regular basis, then we'll be able to, well, count on it for one thing, right? But we'll be able to get into some really good conversations with each other so we don't lose that momentum, you know? So let's go ahead and plan on doing this again tomorrow. And until then, remember, be safe, be healthy, take your vitamin D, I can't talk. Take your multivitamins too. And know that you are loved. Nurse Tara says, for the price of that elite daycare, they should have been reading Shakespeare. I think they probably got subsidies for paying for the daycare. Everyone have a great rest of the day, and we'll see y'all tomorrow. Thanks for coming.